What up, YouTube fam? So we got the Axios interceptor done, and now let's improve our logging a little bit in our Django project so that we can actually kind of tell what's going on a little bit better here. So let's see. We're gonna pull up the settings. This is where the Django logging is kind of configured, and we'll just search for Django logging. And we'll just take a look at the docs, kind of read through them and set up the logging as we go through it. Yep, print debugging, favorite among people. You've seen me do it already. Using the logging framework is only a little more effort than that, but it's much more elegant and flexible, as well as being useful for debugging. Logging can also provide you with more and better structured information about the state and health of your application. Django uses and extends Python's built-in logging module to perform system logging. This module is discussed in detail in Python's own documentation. And this section provides a quick overview. So we'll just go with the quick overview for now. Python logging configuration consists of 4 parts: loggers, handlers, filters, and formatters. So logger is the entry point in the logging system. Each logger is a named bucket to which messages can be written for processing. A logger is configured to have a log level. This log level describes the severity of the messages that the logger will handle. Python defines the following log levels: debug. So really that's more like development purposes. Info, general system info, warning, error, and critical. Each message that is written to the logger is a log record. Each log record also has a log level indicating the severity of that specific message. A log record can also contain useful metadata that describes the event that is being logged. This can include details such as a stack trace or an error code. When a message is given to the logger, the log level of the message is compared to the log level of the logger. If the log level of the message meets or exceeds the log level of the logger itself, the message will undergo further processing. If it doesn't, the message will be ignored. Okay. Once it's been determined that the message needs to be processed, it is passed to a handler. Handler is the engine that determines what happens to each message in a logger. It describes a particular logging behavior, such as writing a message to the screen, to a file, or to a network socket. Like loggers, handlers also have a log level. If the log level of a log record doesn't meet or exceed the level of the handler will ignore the message. A logger can have multiple handlers. Interesting. And each handler can have a different log level. In this way, it is possible to provide different forms of notification depending on the importance of the message. For example, you could install one handler that forwards error and critical messages to a paging service, while a second handler logs all messages, including the error and critical, to a file for later analysis. All right, filter. A filter is used to provide additional control over which log records are passed from logger to handler. By default, any log message that meets log level requirements will be handled. However, by installing a filter, you can place additional criteria on the logging process. For example, you could install a filter that only allows error messages from a particular source to be emitted. Filters can also be used to modify the logging record prior to being emitted. For example, you could write a filter that downgrades error log records to warning records if a particular set of criteria are met. Filters can be installed on loggers or on handlers. Multiple filters can be used in a chain to perform multiple filtering actions. And then formatters, ultimately a log record needs to be rendered as text. Formatters describe the exact format of that text. A formatter usually consists of a Python formatting string containing log record attributes. However, you can also write custom formatters to implement specific formatting behavior. The logging system handles potentially sensitive information. Oh, that's neat. I actually did not know that. For example, a log record may contain information about a web request or a stack trace, while some of the data you collect in your own loggers may also have security implications. You need to be sure you know what information is collected, where it will be stored, how it will be transferred, and who might have access to it. To help control the collection of sensitive info, you can explicitly designate certain sensitive information to be filtered out of error reports. Okay, that's neat. Admin email handler, special mention on security. If its include HTML option is enabled, the email message it sends will contain a full trace back with names and values of local variables at each level of the stack, plus the values of your Django settings. It's generally not considered a good idea to send such potentially sensitive information over email. Consider instead using one of the many third-party services to which detailed logs can be sent to get the best of multiple worlds. The rich information of full tracebacks, clear management of who is notified and has access to the information, and so on. All right. So configuring logging. Python's logging library can provide several techniques to configure logging, ranging from a programmatic interface to configuration files. By default, Django uses the dit config format. So we'll just go with that. In order to configure logging, use logging to define a dictionary of logging settings. So let's see if we already have that in here. We don't. Okay. These settings describe the loggers, handlers, filters, formatters that you want in your logging setup, and the log levels and other properties that you want those components to have. By default, it's merged using the following scheme. If the disable existing loggers key in the logging is set to true, which is the dit config default if the key is missing, then all loggers from the default config will be disabled. Disabled loggers are not the same as removed. The logger will still exist, but will silently discard anything logged to it, not even propagating entries to a parent logger. Thus, you should be very careful using disable existing loggers true. It's probably not what you want. Instead, you can set it to false and redefine some or all of the default loggers, or you can set logging config to none and handle logging config yourself. Okay. Logging is configured as part of the general Django setup function. Therefore, you can be certain that loggers are always ready for use in your project code. Examples: full documentation for dit config format is the best source of information about logging configuration dictionaries. However, to give you a taste of what is possible, here are several examples. All right, let's just see what we get with this. And we're going to use trusty old Bruno to get some responses here. Okay, so we're going to use our trusty old app to get some responses here. Okay, so that doesn't actually do anything. So outputs all log messages to the console. So does that mean if I were, let's go into here. We'll go over testing in a little bit, or in a later video, I should say. So if we do I'm just going to pull this over to the other screen so it's easier to refresh and get that message there. Why do I get one? I get 3 requests. Okay, we'll fix that too. We'll just make a note of that. A mental note. This configures the parent root logger to send messages with the warning level and higher to the console handler. Okay. So, oh, I see. So if this was actually debug, we should theoretically see it now. If we yeah. So we do see it. Okay. Next, we can add more fine-grained logging. Here's an example of how we make the logging system print more messages from just the Django named logger. I think that's fine for now. Okay, so what? There we go. By default, this config sends messages from the Django logger of level info or higher to the console. This is the same level as Django's default logging config, except that the default config only displays log records when debug equals true. Django does not log many such info level messages. With this config, however, you can also set the environment variable that to see all of Django's debug logging, which is very verbose as it includes all database queries. Let's just see what happens. Oh my God. That is verbose. Okay. Yep, there are the database queries. And then what happens if we just turn that off? We get what we just had. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to log to the console. Here's a config which writes all logging from the Django name logger to a local file. And we'll just go to the console for now. If you use this example, be sure to change the file name path to the location that's writable by the user that's running the Django application. Finally, here's an example of a fairly complex logging setup. All right. Don't really need to worry about the filters for right this very second. Okay, so my project.custom. All right. What happens if we just do Django request? Not a whole lot. All right, well, let's say I wanted, so I am a fan of Python JSON logger. And then we can do that. So let's do wait, that's a formatter. So what do the formatter, what's the formatter look like? Okay, so let's pull in the formatter here. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, logger. Handler. All right, let's go back to this. How do we handlers formatter? Remove that. JSON. Let's get rid of that for now, and let's just try to get our Apple users working here. We'll do debug here. Really want to use that there. Oh, sweet. Okay. So we got that working. All right, so we got level name and message. We don't necessarily need that. We do have the ASCII time, which is UTC, so that's good. Or ASC time, which is UTC. Everything should always be UTC. Don't use anything other than UTC. Just don't. Love your security people. Use UTC. All right, now what happens if we were to do like an extra key here? Oh, cool. So it does send that in. That's nice. Sure. Let's do module. See what we get. Where are like the options? We do get the level name. We can get rid of that. You know what? We're going to do that. See where this is coming from. Okay. Why? What's the propagate flag do again? Propa. Events logged to this logger will be passed to the handlers of higher level loggers in addition to any handlers attached to this logger. Parent add handler parent.child Where does this log come from? Yeah, why? Is it the REST framework? Okay, well, this is what we want, but we want to turn that off first. What if we just null that, like screw that? Is there not like a null handler? Oh. Okay, so this is the default logging config. I wonder if it's... Okay. So... Ooh, syslog. That's kind of cool. Let's go to null though. Okay, so we need to do a null handler here and then there. So if we just do null at the root, then we have to explicitly define each logger that we want. I'm hoping that turns it off. Nope. All right. Let's see which one of these logs it. It's got to be one of them. Just has to. Django. We'll do null. Django was it. All right. All right, let's look at the formatters because is that where we're at? Yeah, we want to format this a little bit better. Oh, haha, log record attributes. Yeah, I don't care about that. Whatever. name. You know what, let's just see what we get. Let's just do all of it, basically. Name, module. Ooh, module might be nice. That might be what we're looking for. Oh, module we already did. Is it file name? Okay. So name is what we want, not the module. Because the name's going to give us the actual name of the logger, which comes from this. So if we change this up here to be like custom logger name, and if we made that request again, oh, interesting. All right. So what if we did this and then did yeah, we'd have to do that. By keeping it just this like underscore name makes it to where it's easier to find. Okay. Wait, no. Oh yeah, it's right there. Duh. Do we get a? I didn't see it, but I am curious. I know we get the ASC time, but do we not just get like a regular timestamp? No, we don't. All right, I think that kind of gives us mostly what we want, really. Do that. And then we will, let's see, what are we going to do? What do we want to do? Well, I'd really like to try to figure out why we're getting free messages. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're just inside of here. I'm going to use the session We're going to grab the identity token real quick. We're going to throw it into Bruno so that I can use it and just make one request and see if we're getting duplicate logs or if it's a all right, we'll do that and we'll just restart it. We'll remove that. So now we're getting 2 when we refresh. Nope, we're getting 3. That's cool. But we do only get 1 when we use Bruno, so that's helpful. It's something inside of our React app that's doing that, or our Expo app, sorry. So yeah, just something to note. So now what happens if I want to log each API request? Here we go. So let's make a new file here called, there we go. Let's just do a middleware. We don't need to log the there we go. And let's just do a all right, and then let's, inside of the middleware, let's add our logging middleware. Oh. No, okay, so Django REST framework middleware. So by using a middleware, we'll be able to log it each time. Where's middleware? Okay, so it's just a default Django thing. And then get response. And if we do call, so let's add this to the config. And see what we get. All right. That's pretty fire. So yeah, we'll keep the file name because it could be different. Theoretically, could be different, I think. All right, so let's grab all of this and then let's throw it here. Again, we don't need to do the response body, but we will do the bytes. We won't do the whole thing, but we'll do the actually don't need any of that. Oh, wait. Let's go back to the docs. Again, we don't need the response body. All right, I'll show you what I got. I got an error response back. So how can we process view, process exception? So if we do let's see. Well, that didn't work. Well, we'll just get it working and then we'll figure out how to process that exception better. What if I got rid of that? If I got rid of that. Hey, okay. So it was the total time. And we get, yep, the time, where it came from, message, which user it was for, the server host name, the request method. Oh, okay, so that's cool. So that's where it came from. Nice. Or no. Yeah, the local host name. We'll just keep it. Request path shows us where it's going to and then what the response status is. All right. You know, maybe this isn't so bad, actually. Oh, but it is. Let's just see. If I wanted Let's just simplify this. Process request. Nope. Oh, I just closed it. So we don't need that. How did they get the start time? Oh, I see. And then if we did extra elapsed time, then let's just see. Let's just put like a sleep in here just to see. Nice. Okay. Neat. All right, what other things would I want in here? Request meta. Okay, so body. So how? You know what, let's just start adding a bunch of this because I could see all of this being useful at some point. We'll skip that for now. Just do content type. Yeah, so the host name of the server, request method. Sure, we'll do no, this needs to be host. Oops. What does this give us? An error. Wonderful. What? It has no attribute content. Oh. See what our error is now. Oh, I spelled something wrong. No. This one's not guaranteed to be there. Okay. Remove that and go again. Should have given us content length, which is nothing. Don't need any of the headers. Don't think we need that. Don't need any of that. Reason to get full path, that's fine. Okay, so I don't care about any of that. Oh, wait, what? So do we have get post? Ah, all right. Try that. Just keep it at that because I'm not exactly sure. So in our case, the host is not going to be behind multiple proxies at this point, but that's good to know. Oh, I don't think we want the full. No, I guess we do want the full path. You can see what people are querying for. The only issue that I can see with that is that it, somebody accidentally queries for like a secret, like a API key or something. But don't put that in your request. Okay, I think that looks good for now. That kind of sets us up well for logging. We may modify it a little bit here and there. But that's good for now. We'll keep both of those as debug statements for now. And I think we will call it there. I think the next one will get this Dockerized, get the Django app Dockerized locally. We'll make it a little bit more, I guess, production worthy. We'll run it with Docker Compose locally, and then I think after that, we'll take a look at what we can actually do with these logs instead of just logging them to the console, because like that's nice, but it doesn't really do anything for you. If you have the logs but don't use them, why log at all? So yeah, I think that's kind of our next steps. And with that, catch you guys later.